I'll talk you through, sir.
Okay.
First thing, we'd just like to start off is what's your name and your current age?
My name is Joe Buerger, and my age is 79, going on 80.
All right, I'm just going to slide this microphone. And where do you live?
I live in Wickliffe, Ohio.
And how far would that be from here?
Oh, it's a suburb of Cleveland. It's only about 6-7 miles away.
Oh, that's not bad.
No,
And what was your age and your rank when you were chosen?
at the Chosen, I was a PFC in the United States Marine Corps, and my age was 20,
Okay.
20 years old.
What was your job and what was your unit?
My job was I was a 3.5 rocket launcher bazooka man, but the bazookas weren't used up there because it was so cold that when you fired it, the embers were still smoking when it came out the barrel, and the backblast would hit you in the face. So they had special masks, this mask like this, then a rubber that would come down like that to protect your face. Of course, the Army had those, we didn't. And
Not much has changed.
no, there was no Army outfits around where we could get our hands on them. But that's the way it was.
And did you land at Wonsan? Oh, what unit were you with?
I was with Weapons Company, 1st Battalion, 5th Marine Regiment.
And did you land at Wonsan?
Yes, I did.
Can you talk to us after you landed at Wonsan? You started marching north. Where did you guys end up?
You damn knee, North Korea.
On your way up, did you know? I mean, I know you're only a PFC at the time, and you get there and you start working your way up. Did you know that there were any Chinese out there?
When we landed there, no, we didn't know that they were there yet. But as we went north, progressively north, we ran into stragglers and stuff like that, and a few encounters where we had firefights. And then we realized that there is Chinese in strength in North Korea, and we told, our commanding officers told the higher-ups, MacArthur's headquarters, that there is Chinese here. We are encountering them, and we have taken prisoners. And they, in turn, in their warm barracks in Japan, decided that they were just Bushmen, Chinese coolies. They just were volunteers. They were not the regular Chinese army. And they completely ignored us. Well, they found out shortly after. When we went up as far as you damn knee, and that's where we were.
Do you remember for a bit of time you went east of the reservoir?
Yes, we went, our battalion went east of the reservoir, and we set up there, and that was a 5th Regiment, and the 7th Regiment was on the west side of the reservoir. The 1st Regiment was down south around Coterie, and okay. Then the Army came up and relieved us on the 5th Regiment on the east coast of the reservoir, and we came over to the west coast with the 7th, and the Army took over there, where we vacated and left them all our foxholes and everything. And
did you see the Army? Did you talk to any of those guys?
No. When you're a trooper, you just follow information and move out.
And so you get to Udemni. Did you know what the mission was when you got there? Because you got there, I think, the same day they started attacking.
Yes. We were supposed to head west and go help the army, which is being attacked. That's the word we got. They should have said slaughtered. The army had retreated, and we had started out westward along the trail. Was supposed to go up over the mountains and all that, where we wouldn't have our tanks, and but to get to the army where they were on the western side of these mountains, but we only got so far out when the word was that we finally got the word that the army wasn't there. They were wiped out, and they all retreated. And they told us to get the hell back to where we started from at Udamni and set up defenses because the Chinese were in the war. It was great. So we hurried and hustled back, and luckily there was a couple Chinese divisions waiting for us down the road there. And anyway,
Did you make it back before they attacked?
Yes, we did. We made it back, and we set up with the 7th Regiment and the 5th Regiment were together up there.
And for the weapons company guys, did they keep you kind of in reserve?
Everybody turned in their flamethrowers and their rocket launchers because they were useless. Flamethrower would only go about 10 feet out with its flame. And we were riflemen then. Well, as you know, every Marine is a rifleman. I don't care if he's a cook or a truck driver or what. He is a rifleman first, then he's something else. And we just put our weapons on the trucks, and we had our rifles, and we just fell in with the infantry company.
Do you know what company you were assigned to?
We were assigned to Abel, Baker, and Charlie, 1st Battalion.
Do you know which one specifically you went to?
No. Yes, I was with Abel and Charlie up there, and then I don't recall being with Baker then.
So you that night before the Chinese, did you get up? Were you digging in? What'd you guys do before they came?
It was impossible to dig in. Impossible. The only way you could dig in for a machine gun was to dig a tiny hole and plant an explosive in there, and fire in a hole and then blow it. And then from there on, you could widen the thing out and dig it the way you wanted to, put the machine gun in there. But for individual riflemen, we used little parapets that we hid behind, or if there was a rock or something, was scattered. 2 men supposed to be together in a foxhole, but that's the way we were.
And can you remember what you were doing when the Chinese attacked?
No.
Were you eating? Were you sleeping? Were you on fire watch?
Sleeping. And we were full alert, and then the Chinese didn't hit where I was. They hit over in other sections all around. And fortunately, they didn't come here. And that's the way it was for 3 days and 3 nights. We stayed at this area on these mountaintops, and then we got the word to fall back.
Now, did the Chinese ever come to that position that you were at?
Yes, they did, but they never got through. They never got through. We were good Marines. Every one of us was a good Marine. We protected the guy on the right and the guy on the left of us. And that's the way we were taught. You stay and you die to protect him, and he's going to do the same thing for you. He's doing the same thing for you. That's where we were. That's the way we were brought up.
Can you describe the Chinese tactics? Could you even see them? Was it too dark?
Yeah, it was too dark until they were up on you.
If you could give us a quick second, sir, the helicopters. they're flying in a patient, I think.
Yeah, okay.
And the helicopter, because these microphones are so sensitive, the
Yeah.
helicopter sounds like it's in the room.
Oh,
That's good. Go ahead.
Okay, so you were saying that how dark it was, you couldn't see what they were doing, or
not until they got up to you, up close to you. 10 yards, that was about it. Because they were coming up. They were blending in.
with the snow.
Yeah. Yep.
Now they were in a bad spot going up a hill is always bad.
Yes, it is. We had trouble slipping and sliding going up hills when we were going up hills, but they were in their tennis shoes, like whatever they were, and they would just chop steps. And they had something on their backs, and they're just short, choppy steps, and they'd just climb right up like they're climbing up a ladder, or steps, like they're climbing up steps, and they're all over the place. So they had good discipline. They didn't slow down. They didn't stop. They just kept coming.
Did you ever feel bad for them?
No, because I knew what they were trying to do. And, well, this one time, my closest to a Chinese guy was when I was on this top of this truck, and there was wounded there. And we had a machine gun up there, and they were coming down for the hill, hitting us on the flank. Well, we fired the machine gun, but we only had 2 boxes of ammo, and we fired them. And then this one guy climbs up the side of the truck, and my rifle was there, but I grabbed my .45, and I blew his brains out from about 1.5 to 2 foot away. And he looked like he was a 12-year-old kid. 12 years old. That's what he looked like. For an instant there, it's unbelievable. Usually we're fighting guys my age and older. They had older guys there who were in the Chinese Army. I guess that was their profession or their career. And I felt bad that I had to shoot a 12-year-old kid, but it only lasted a split second, and then everything done, the shooting, then it subsided and died down, and some guys surrendered, a lot of them were dead, the rest of them took off back up the hill.
So you were at UDME for a couple days prior to breaking out, and the breakout, can you talk to us about when you got the word? Were you ever concerned while you were up there? Were you ever concerned about the unit safety and getting out of there with all those Chinese all over the place?
Yeah. While we were up there, there was this one knoll, and a hill, and we were talking about it jokingly, how Marines are, and to get together over a fire with a cup of coffee or a beer. Well, we didn't have beer, with coffee. And says, remember Custer's Last Stand? Well, that's the way we're going to do it here. It's going to go right around that mountain. We'll have the CP up on the top, and then when they first wave attacks and they kill so many guys, we'll just move up the hill another notch so we're tighter, and we're tighter and tighter until the last man. That's the way we. So what? Hell with it. That's the way we were.
And so you start working your way out. Any significant event besides or any other attacks going from Udamne to Hagaroo? Was it easy going? Was there because you were rear guard action?
At times, yes. Everybody rotated like.
Well, I think the 7th let out, didn't it?
Yeah.
So
The
they
fifth-
probably cleared the roadblocks.
and the 5th. Well, we were up on the top, on the mountaintop, heading south, clearing roadblocks up there. I mean, not roadblocks, but, you know.
So you guys were up in the ridges getting the Chinese off the high ground.
Right.
Can you talk about the difficulty in maneuvering in that kind of terrain?
Yes. Well, it's coming this way, south. The head man, there was the point was out in front of us, and there were 4 guys, and they were point behind, and then 2 on the flank, just to look for the enemy. That's all. They weren't supposed to engage, just look. And when they seen them or something, heard them, they'd signal the other guys behind them, and then we would set a deployment there, and then come charging at them. But we had to break through. We just had to break through for the rest of the column, because we were the security for the troops the convoy down there. That whole convoy was all Marines, and wounded Marines, dead Marines. We had them on the trucks and all that, and all of our equipment. We brought everything out. If a truck was shot up so bad that it wouldn't start, push it over the side. We don't want it. But we didn't leave it there. We pushed it over the side. It was destroyed. And then they didn't even want it then. But we left them nothing that they could use. Nothing.
And any significant moment or event between Udemne and Hagarou? Anything that stands out?
And Hagarou,
Before you got to Hagarou?
nothing that stands out. It was just typical day and night combat.
Would the Chinese stand and fight, or did they run away a lot?
No, they would stay and fight. They would stay and fight until they were overwhelmed, and then they saw they were getting beat, so they would withdraw. And they would attack some other place at another time, reinforced. And
We heard a lot that the Chinese were freezing worse than the Marines.
Yes, they were. The clothing they had wasn't sufficient, and what they did was they would run chop. You know what I mean, chop. And they would get to their position, and then they'd freeze. And if a plane came overhead, they were supposed to remain motionless and hide as best they could. If they exposed themselves, they could be shot by their squad leader or platoon leader or something. That was number one crime in the Chinese Army, to be spotted by one of our spotter planes. Unless we had the spotter planes up all the time looking for the enemy, where they were coming from or going. Yeah.
So what was it like to get to Hagarou? What was the feeling like?
The feeling was good. It was really good. It was a lot better when we got to Coterie. But at Hagarou, we joined up with more Marines, and that made us stronger. Because we had a battalion here, a battalion there, a company here, a company there. All the way up for 80 miles we were stretched out, for Christ's sake. That's not a Marine division. When a Marine division hits you, they're supposed to be like 23,000 men strong coming at you, right? Okay. So, but up there, it was...
2 regiments.
Huh?
It was just 2 regiments at Udemne.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's right.
You guys did pretty damn good, too.
Well, it was our training.
Do you think it had also to do with the leadership from World War II?
Yes. We were proud of the Marines that served before us. They were in the old Corps. Well, now we're the old Corps. and pretty soon you're going to be the old Corps. They set an example, and we had to live up to it. We weren't going to be defeated or anything else. We were going to kick ass, that's for sure. No matter what it was, semper fi, let's do it or die.
You guys get set up at Hagaroon, you start marching down to Coterie. Was it more the same? Were you up on the ridges and more fighting?
Yes. It was the same thing up there. And it was the thing about that cold weather fighting is there would be a period of 15 minutes or a half hour, there'd be no shooting. And you'd be walking along. And then all of a sudden, machine gun would open up. You'd hit the deck, and you'd start firing back because there'd be about 20, 30, 40 of them there. And you're firing back. Well, I'm like this, but actually I'm right-handed. Just showing you what I mean.
Sure.
And you would be laying there in the snow for 5 minutes, maybe longer. And your feet, when you'd be walking, those snowpacks were so bound up on you that your toes would perspire between your toes, and your feet would perspire. But then when you're walking, that's okay. But when you hit the deck and you're laying there, and you're not moving your feet for a half hour or so, whatever, all that perspiration turns to ice. Frost and then ice, and then it freezes. And that's how so many guys got frostbitten feet and fingers. You just had, like at night when you were on watch, you just had to keep moving your toes and moving your fingers. Otherwise, they would freeze on you. No.
Heading down to Coterie, any events, anything significant between, any significant battle or moment that you can recall between Hagaroon and Coterie?
Well, just...
Now, were they, because you were the 5th Rangers was in the rear guard, so were they attacking you from the rear or from the flank, or did they somehow get in between you guys in the 7th?
They broke through the road, the convoy and the road, because there would be spaces where the convoy, a truck would stall. They couldn't start it up so that while the rest of the convoy's moving, well, they would have to take everything off, value off this truck, the wounded and the dead bodies, and put them on the next truck, next 2 trucks, whatever, and then push this truck over the side. And then this truck has to catch up. The convoy has to catch up. But there is a gap there. The Chinese would find that, and they would get in between that and set up a roadblock. They were very good at that. They were all over the hills on both sides. The other side here, as we're coming down on the right side, this side here, they were up there on the mountains, but you could see them, but they were so far away that they weren't doing any good. They weren't any danger, except for directing big guns, mortars on us. The real threat was on the left-hand side, because the mountaintop was up here where we are, and then it came down like this, and then here's the road, and then there's the side of the mountain going down into the valley. This road was just carved out of this mountainside all the way up. It was for carts. They didn't have trucks then at the time that this road was cut out of the mountain. And when there was 2 coming this way, pretty rough, pretty scary for this guy here. But the engineers, they cut into the side of the mountains there, made little cliffs and whatever, so that if it ever happened, this convoy that's going up to the front with reinforcements could pull in and let this convoy come down that's got wounded in it come down. Then when they're all past, this convoy could continue up. So everything was done for a reason.
Did the aviation help you out?
Those guys were absolutely fantastic. They were beautiful. Those Corsairs would come in and just put it right down there. They could dot an I. They really could. And there was one time that some Army P-51s were there, and the Corsairs weren't available. They were all back reloading and refueling, and then coming back up on station. Well, we called in for an airstrike, but they weren't there. The Army says, "We're here, we'll do it for you." So I said, "Okay, it's just beyond the panels. You see the panels? We see the panels. Yeah, okay, go ahead. 1,000 yards beyond." We said, "Okay, go on. We don't need you guys." They were useless. The enemy was right there, and they're hitting 1,000 yards back. They just weren't. They never had the proper training. So they just, well, then our Corsairs came back, and they came in and did the job. Boy, they did beautiful work. Every time we took a hill, a mountaintop, I should say, not a hill, the Corsairs would be helping us out by strafing or whatever. And when we'd get to the top, this Corsair would come around like this, and he's down below us, and he's waving up at us, and we're waving back at him. There was great between them guys and us. Oh, yep.
So you head down into Coterie. Anything significant in Coterie? Do you remember the mass grave? Was there ever a ceremony there?
The grave?
There was a mass grave at Coterie.
Yeah, I was there. I saw General Smith standing there saluting. But the bulldozers dug this big long grave this way. And, well, that's the way I'm seeing it, because I was standing here at the southern part of this grave, and he was over there. And they had some riflemen here firing 3 volleys. That's where they put the dead bodies, because we knew we were going to get a lot more dead when we started the attack down again, and we had to have room for them. And the way it was, we didn't have any room. That's why we put the bodies there. And the grave was marked, and we were going to come back later and get them, And that was the grave.
They did go back and get them.
Yes, it was many years after that.
I think it was maybe in the 90s.
Yeah. North Koreans and the United States got together and says, "Yeah, okay, come and get your bodies." So they went and got graves registration, went and got the bodies.
So working your way out from Coterie, do you remember seeing all the refugees?
No, I didn't see any. Just on the road, occasionally I would see some. But I didn't see all the mass refugees that were down there at the ships where they loaded them on. I didn't see that. When I went out, went out at night on the ship. We climbed up the side of the ship on this rope ladder and climbed up there, and the sailors are helping us on board. "You got any grenades?" "If you do, throw them out in the water." And that's when we took off all our clothes and went into showers. The first shower we had in 2.5 months.
I bet you felt good.
Oh, God. Yes. It felt really good. Then they gave us clean clothes. Ours were being washed, but they gave us clean clothes to wear, and then we put our wristwatch back on, ring and whatever, put our wallets in our pockets. Oh, it was.
Make you appreciate having a shower.
Makes you appreciate being in the Marine Corps. Because if I wasn't in the Marine Corps, I wouldn't be taking a shower. There was so many Army dead, missing. Those were all Army guys that are missing now. There's like 9,000 of them still missing. They're all Army. When they retreated from their positions on the front lines, when the Chinese first attacked, we didn't do that. Well, we were allowed to fall back. When we were in foxholes, we were allowed to fall back from the front of the foxhole to the back of the foxhole. That's as far as we could go. That was Marine Corps. We were proud of it. We were damn proud of it.
How long did you spend in the Marine Corps?
4.5 years. 4.5.
Can you talk to us about your homecoming?
Yes, I got discharged in San Diego, California, and I hitchhiked up to San Francisco, and I put a call in for my buddy's parents that lived in Frisco, and the girl that answered the phone says they're up in Canada on a vacation up there, and they won't be back for a week. However, me and my sister or me and my cousin were there, so I said, all right. So they came down to the hotel that I checked into, and we went around the city, showed them. We had dinner and all that. And next day I left. And it took me 10 days to get home. 10 days. Because I got off the train in Denver and just walked around, got in a bar, drank some beers, went back to the train place, got on another train, kept coming back closer to Cleveland. And then I got off at Cleveland, and I walked up the ramp, and I knew where I lived, but I got on I knew what bus I was supposed to get. I got on that, and I says, how much? Well, I had my jacket, tie, field scarf. What do you guys call that now? Field scarf, a tie or what?
Tie? Is it a regular necktie?
Yeah.
Yeah, necktie.
Oh, we called them a field scarf at the time. And a barracks cap, and my ribbons was on my greens. We had our green uniform on. And I asked the bus driver, says, how much is the fare? He says, servicemen in uniform get to ride free. Oh, damn. What is it ordinarily? He says, a dime. Oh, thank you. And I sat down. I rode all the way out to 82nd and Huff Avenue. Got off, and I just walked down the street, carrying my little duffel bag. My little 72 bag is what it was. And I come up to the front door, up the porch up to the front door, and I saw my dad in there. He was sitting with his back to the window, and he's reading the paper. And because he didn't start to work until about 10 o'clock, I think, in the morning. And my mother worked at the Cleveland Clinic. She was a floor superintendent nurse, in charge of a whole floor as a nurse. And so I just looked at him, and, oh boy, home. Felt funny. Pressed the doorbell, rang, and he put paper on. I'll come around the corner, opens the door, his eyes go this way, screams, jumping up and down, grabs me, hugs me, all that, And he gets on the phone, calls Cleveland Clinic, my mother, I want to talk to Ethel Buerger. I got her. Says, he's home. So that was how I got home.
Being in, for Anton and myself and going to combat, that good, bad, or indifferent, you're it changes your perspective on things, and, you can't help but not be the same person when you come home, because you just don't view things the same way. Can you talk about your transition home and how it may have affected you either way?
Loud noises, forget them. I was standing on a corner waiting for the light to change when two guys were walking behind me. Well, I was standing there, and they're walking across the street with the light. The traffic was going that way, if you understand what I mean. And I wanted to go this way. Well, the light was green. The cars going. So they're going across the street this way. And just then, this one guy said something. The other guy went, ha ha! Jesus Christ, I turned around and elbowed the son of a bitch with my elbow in his face. And then I realized, holy shit. And this guy, I'm sorry, pissed me off. I mean, that I had to do something stupid, but I wasn't ready for this. I still will have nightmares. Like, here they come. And the wife's sick at me. And they're going now. They're going. I'll wake up. Anyway, it's a slow transition period. I go to the VA once every 2 weeks, and there's a group session there. And we just go over there and we talk and for an hour every 2 weeks, and it's very relaxing. I look forward to going to these meetings. I really do. It's just the guys the same problems that I got, God, if when a loud noise comes up, I was at going to this play, this Hollywood play. Actors, they were all actors. And it was a dinner beforehand, and then the show was going to be shown on the stage. Well, we were all sitting there in our chairs, and they were starting to adjust the audio, the noise, the microphones and stuff like that. And I went, skeet! Like, geez, I jumped and I swore like a pig. Jesus Christ. But then after, it only takes 1 or 2 seconds, and then you realize, you sit down, you try to cover your face, you're a little bit ashamed, but you're pissed off because you had to do that, and there's all these elderly women and men, and they're all looking at you. Oh, God damn it wasn't my fault, but they don't understand that. They think I'm some vulgar, let them go on thinking what they want to think. But just things that happen.
When I first got home, we had a lot of IEDs, had a ton of them, more than I'd like to. So I was driving, I think, for the first time, and in the median, they had a sprinkler. There was grass in the median, and the sprinkler went off, and a big cloud of mist came up, and I thought it was a bomb. And I almost wrecked the car with my wife, and I swerved clear across 3 lanes of traffic.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just takes. Is there anything that kind of helped you? Was it just time that kind of helped ease it a little bit?
Yeah.
And then maybe kind of connecting with your buddies.
Yeah, that's right. Just talking with you, it's relaxing. And then I'm getting medication to calm the nerves down from the VA, and so I think I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good.
Sure. Do we have any tapes left?
I can go see if they don't.
I just got 5 minutes left. All right, so real quick, couple questions. One is, did you know why you were going to Korea? For what reasons?
Yeah, I was in Able Company, 1st Battalion, 2nd Marines, 2nd Marine Division in 1950. I was going to get discharged September the 1st. Well, me and a buddy of mine took a 30-day leave, and we came up to Cleveland, and we applied for jobs, and which was the thing to do. And so when we got discharged, we'd come home, have a week's vacation, and go to the job. We'd have it already lined up. Well, we were sitting in this bar one night at 11 o'clock. The news was on, and we were having our goodbye beers. And the newscaster says, North Korea attacks South Korea. And with tanks crossing the 38th parallel and stuff like that. Okay. So I asked my buddy, Jack, where's Korea? He said, well, we drank our beers, thanked the bartender, and we left. We'll see you in a couple months, buddy. So we left. He went home, I went home. And then I picked him up the next day and went to the bus terminal. And we went back to Camp Lejeune. And when we got there, the place was empty. Where's everybody at? And there was 2 sentries there. They says, they're all on their way to Camp Pendleton, the war on. Oh, what? Oh, well, we're going to get discharged, so we didn't think nothing about it. We thought it was just going to be something like Haiti or the Dominican Republic or something like that. And so we went there, and we got our stuff. We went over this barracks casual company. They put us in MP battalion, and that's what we were. We were MPs for a while, and then they got orders to go to California, All right, now we were picked up by weapons company, 1st Battalion, 2nd Marines, and then we went over to Korea. So, that's just a couple weeks away. But I would have felt bad if I would have got out and then they had left. I was that kind of guy. I loved the Corps. I really did. I still do.
Looking back on it, almost 60 years later, do you think it was worth it?
My time in the Corps or the fighting in Korea?
The Korean War.
Yes, definitely, most definitely it was worth it, because look what we accomplished. If they would have been overrun by the North Koreans and we did nothing about it, they would have been a bunch of peasants today just doing nothing but planting those rice paddies. That's all they would have been doing. But if you look at South Korea today, 20-story buildings in downtown Seoul, it's built up so big. They got underground trains, subways, and everything. They had, when we were there, they had 2-story mud buildings. That was their high rises, 2 stories. They were such a pitiful place. Well, they were run by the Japanese for all those years, until the Second War was over, and then just for a couple of years they were free under the United States. Well, the North was under the Russians; they weren't free. But time proves that we were absolutely right in doing what we did to help save them. They're a happy country now.
And the last question is really an open moment. Do you have any last-minute statements, memories, anything you want to mention that we might have not covered that you want to capture about your time at Chosen?
Just that all the guys that I know, that I met, or ever heard of, would always laugh at adversity. So just they didn't think us, anything difficult. We were just going to do what we were ordered to do. If we were told to act that way or that way, we would do it. Whatever we were told to do, we did it. Never grumbled, but we just had the feel for combat. We were a close organization. It was pride. It really was. It was, like I said, it all reverts back to boot camp. Platoon 95, 2nd Battalion, in 1947. Yep, that was my platoon number, platoon 95. That's been with me ever since. That's it.
Perfect. Well, we appreciate you coming out and talking with us.